Hey guys, my guest today, Christopher Macklin, is going to be talking about whether or not negative otherworldly entities are attacking the human race. See you in about 5 minutes. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Hey everybody, how's it going? We finally hit Thursday, one more day to the weekend. Wow, it's been a week, hasn't it? It's been a heck of a week. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. Something just crawled down my leg. Whoa. All my dogs under there. Wow. I didn't realize he was down there. It's a rat terrier. He's real small. Anyway, I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento. And we are 45 strong up and down the state of California. Which means if you happen to have something going on in your home or office, or you think you do, we can come out and help you. You know, we don't just look at things from the psychic point of view. We also look at things from the real life point of view, you know, where we have contractors and people like that on staff to look into stuff that could, you know, the logical steps that could be going wrong. But the only issue is California is such a huge state. You know, people think of us as beaches and surfing, and we are in central to southern Cal. That's what we do. And in northern Cal, they still do, but it's colder. So they tend to wear wetsuits. But yeah, we are. But there's also more to us. There's mountain ranges. There's high desert, there's low desert, there's a lot of farming area, a lot of rural areas. So like I said, you know, even though we have people up and down the state, it might take us a little bit to get to you. In that case, what happens is that we do have mediums on staff who can phone you and do a remote read. And in most cases, they can simmer down, you know, if it is paranormal in nature, they can simmer down whatever's going on until we get there. And it usually doesn't take more than 1 or 2 days for us to get out there. Okay, so that is that. The way to find us is Facebook. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram under Ghosty Gal. Facebook, we're California Haunts for California Haunts Radio. You can find us on, again, Instagram under my name, Ghosty Gal, all lowercase. You can find us on Twitch under Cal Haunts. You can find us on Twitter under California Haunts. You can find us on TikTok under California Haunts. And we even have a meetup page, California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team Meetup. So you can find us in all those ways. Now, that being said, if you're watching from Meetup or from Facebook tonight and you like what you see and hear, and you haven't done so already, hit that follow button because we're always looking for followers. Also, be sure to comment in the comment section and give us a thumbs up or a heart or a smiley face. Show me some love, because what that does is it puts us higher in the FYP and it gets Facebook's, you know, computer. It gets Facebook's computer's attention, and that then Facebook takes it and spreads it out to a bigger circle of people than what we would normally do. Same thing with YouTube. If you're watching from YouTube tonight and you like what you see, same thing. Show me some love. Show me some happy. Show me some thumbs up, and also comment, because again, YouTube sees that and it puts us up higher in their FYP as well. And if you like what you hear tonight and see what tonight, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. We have 780 videos sitting over at YouTube. All of this show. I just don't do go stuff. I handle. We do cryptids on here. You name it. We do everything. UAPs. We ran the gamut. There's so many videos that I'm in the process of taking them and putting them into different files. So it's a lot easier for you guys to find. I know when I go in on my YouTube page and I look at all the videos there, it gives me a migraine. So what I've decided to do was move them all into their own folders. So, for instance, if you're into UFOs and UAPs, alien abductions, and things like that, you click on the folder for that. If the video of Nancy Masks is the one you enjoy watching, she's got her own folder. Karen Clark has her own folder, etc., and that goes for cryptids and everything else. So it's a lot easier to find. Okay, now that I'm done with that, I've got a big announcement to make tomorrow. We're going to be making some changes to the way we do things on the show, and I'm going to involve all of you. But I'm not going to make that announcement until tomorrow, until Nancy's on the air as well, because it has something to do with Nancy and Karen Clark. So I'll be making that announcement. In the meantime, we got today's show, which I'm excited about. This guest, Christopher Macklin, I have followed his career for years, and I just love the stuff, the information he has. And so we're going to be talking about negative otherworldly entities tonight, and it should be an interesting conversation. So before I screw it up, let me bring him in and let's get the show on the road. Hello.
Hi, Charlotte. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have you. So tell me about you, sir.
Oh gosh, where do you start? Well, it's been an interesting journey. I feel like I've had several lifetimes in this lifetime. It's kind of all changed. So when I was first born, I didn't realise, but 2 days after I had 8 strokes and births and trauma, got over that. Age of 4, I burnt my back so bad I was in hospital for a year again. So, a lot of the early days I was in hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was 4, I was back at home and I realised I could see entities, and I had a big old Anunnaki in the corner, and I didn't realise, just like some reptilian thing, horrible. And Dad, there's a reptilian. He comes running up. Where? It's there, And you go, oh, it's just a bad dream, And I was like, okay, I'll go back to the covers, and I was looking. It's still there. So I learned to manage them really early. It's interesting because I get out my room, and that map of intent, manifestation, it left. That's the universal rule. Oh, that worked. Because when it's an entity, you can feel it. It's not just a dream. You can feel like this, like big, heavy thing on your chest. Like, this is not good. So, anyway, moving on. So, I see craft in the sky. Dad, there's a flying saucer thing over there. Where? Okay, well, I learned to actually manage it. Yeah. And then I just went through my life and I didn't talk about it because they'll put me on drugs and lock me up. So, move forward, and I felt very different. I never really. As a starseed person, and there's a lot of starseeds here, you never really gel with life. You look at life thinking, I don't behave like them. What's going on? And you can't really integrate. There's very few people we have in our life that we integrate with, and I'm sure most of the listeners will resonate with that because you're a huge empath for a start. I'm a huge empath, so if someone talked behind your back and said, oh, you take it to heart, almost to the point of throwing up. Like, oh wow, I mean, now my in quotes couldn't give a shit has exploded. So I don't care what people think because that's their deal, not mine. But I always say, look, if you don't like who I am, then doors over there. I love you. Bye bye. It's okay. But of course, we've all gone through people pleasing type, scenarios, trying to be nicey, and forget all that. We haven't got time for that, and it's not that I'm horrible. It's just I'm very honest, open, and raw, So anyway, I get to my 20s and I got a degree, master's in electronics, software, control systems, and so what? It's third dimensional. Let's call it blah blah blah. It's probably a good word. It's polite for bullshit, but blah blah blah. So anyway, got these degrees.
That's one of those deals. That's one of those deals where you say, "Can you speak English, please?"
Yeah. I've got to tell you a funny story. When I went to be American citizen, I was sitting in front of the immigration office. He goes, "Is there anything that couldn't make you American?" He said, "What is it?" I said, "I can't give up afternoon tea." And he goes, "I don't think we're worried about that." But anyway, so I went to work for flight control systems, did some things, avionic things, and then, got some really big jobs. And I used to look at these things. Is this it? You get this feeling like there's got to be more than just. I earned a fortune of money, but there's got to be more than this. Anyway, come 2007, I decided to build I was refurbing houses. Decided, let's do an apartment block, 173 apartments. Oh dear. Now, my name's not Donald Trump, so anyway, bought this land, got the loans, and within a year they took me bankrupt. And it was actually, honestly, Charlotte was the best thing that ever happened to me, but it didn't feel like at the time, and I was sitting in Manchester, someone loaned me a thing, marriage split up, everything went south. And I spent about 2 or 3 years, kind of half living out of a car. And it really taught me a lot about stuff because, stuff, who cares about stuff, it doesn't really matter. But sometimes it takes that to take it all away from you, And anyhow, I rebuilt my life, went to India, went to Gambia, went all over Europe, searching and it was interesting. When I went to Belize, I went on one of the Mayan temples. Now, the Mayans were all about sacrifice and stuff, which I don't believe in. But the Mayan temples themselves are actually built on ley lines. They're extremely powerful. And I was sitting there having these visions, and I went back to the to the hotel, and they were showing me my past lives. It was like a hologram, just watching it. Wow, okay. And then from there, I realized what I'm meant to be doing now and just worked on it. So I came to America, Global Enlightenment Project is part of Christopher Macklin Ministries, which is a non-for-profit. Build it, they'll come, they said. So I opened the office and where is everybody? Nothing happened. Okay, what's happening? They said, get out there, it's within. Oh, okay. So we went on expos and toured all over the United States and different places, Switzerland and, back in the UK. And suddenly it just took off, and, we work on probably about 2,000 people a week. Thereabouts. If you look at YouTube, there's 500 views of, because we do like a general group healing twice a week to make sure everyone, one thing I really make sure is that everyone gets a healing regardless, because I've been there, I've been without food. And, it just took off. And here we are today, I always tell people, this, it's a spiritual business, but it's a spiritual business, and one thing I learned is just to completely surrender. God's got your back. You don't have to worry about anything. Just have the gratitude. Make sure that things you don't like I was in IT. I can't stand IT. Can't stand accounts, So give it to the accountant. We pay them probably about $25,000 a year, and they do all the accounts. I'm not interested. They count beans. I'm good at healing. So let's just focus on the healing and do what we do best, So, and we got to here, which is great.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. When you were talking about your childhood, it kind of reminded me of me because I'm an empath. And I remember seeing dark shadow people, but they didn't really intimidate me. I don't think they were bad. But I remember telling my family, and my mother was always, "Oh, you're imagining it. So after a while, like you say, you tend to shut up after a while. And just deal with it.
Because it's just a bad dream, darling. Not that thing in the corner wasn't, But it's interesting because I've dealt with so many people's houses. It's interesting because if you look at the Greys, I chair the Galactic Federation with 3 other Melchizedek Beings, and we had a meeting about the Greys because, of course, Eisenhower was involved. The Greys met Hitler first and did a deal and abduct people, blah blah blah. And the discussion was about what's the difference between violation and education. It's a very close call. Now people say, well, entities, they're violating, but they're not, because before you come down here, you get an idea of what's going to go on, and so all these entities, they can attach to you, they can manipulate you, whatever. I advise everybody, look, if you ever volunteer to come down here again, think really carefully, pretend you've got diarrhea, run in the bathroom, lock the door, and then when all the volunteers are decided, then come out and, oh, never mind, maybe next time. And I'm kind of joking because I actually love it. I don't know about you, Charlotte, but I love it here. I think it's incredible. It's a crazy time, especially over the last week. The energy is nuts, but I embrace it because God's got our back,
Right.
When you volunteer to come down here, of course, you're an empath, you take everything on. And the other thing about it is that when you're born, your fertilization becomes a fetus. As the soul's coming through, it's not blocking all past life stuff out. So you come in with a ton of past life things, bonds into the fetus, all the emotion goes straight to the heart chakra. And then, you start off, people often say, well, why is my 2-year-old, they've only been here for 2 years, why are they so anxiety-ridden? Oh, well, that'll be the past life stuff, but it's incredible. So yeah.
Did you know what the entities were when you first encountered them?
No, I just think. Anunnaki look like velociraptors, like a dinosaur thing, and I think I called it. There's a dinosaur thing in my room, but no, I learned later. You've obviously got a number of them, negative entities, which are manipulated, which is trying to take over the planet. And people don't realize this. They think, oh, it's the deep state, the Illuminati, and da. It's really not. It's the Anunnaki, Draconians, Luciferians, and the Archons. They're the main people in charge of trying to take down this planet. Why is that? Because what they want to do, it's like if you look at Gates, he wants to block out the sun, and because he said global warming. Well, okay, whatever. But the reason why they want to block out the sun is to reduce the oxygen, because these beings under the planet cannot breathe the same level of oxygen. So that's one of the biggest things: reduce the population, reduce the oxygen. then all these beings will come up, and then we've got a real problem. So, and we're battling that. We've got a pyramid project, which probably I don't have time to talk about, but that's something that will actually raise the vibration and blow out all the satanic symbology in the leylands. It's a huge project. So
how, when you talk about these entities coming after humans or attacking humans, how do they do it?
they feed off fear. They're fourth dimensional beings. You've got the third, fourth, and then we're transcended the fifth. So we're kind of sliding through the fourth dimension to get to the fifth dimension right now. But what happens is, if you get fear, we have a prayer. If you look at our website, I don't like the word prayer. I like the word map of intent, because it's much more powerful. But we have maps of intent to actually keep these things out. And once you've removed it, if your vibration's precarious, or you're in stress or anything else, which who hasn't got anxiety on this planet? The answer is that'd be everybody, because it's nuts, and so it drops your vibration, of course. And when your vibration drops, they can just attach to you because you're on the same level. Once you release all the emotion, of which how many layers of emotion do we ingest a year? A year, in the lifetime.
Right.
Probably 150,000, maybe 200,000. And if you go to a practitioner, they poke at 3 or 4 layers and you bawl your eyes out. You go next week. You're never going to get rid of it this lifetime. We have a fast track method of getting rid of it, where they go within those layers and say, okay, what's the biggest layer affecting you right now? They pull that out, and the next biggest, and it gets rid of it a lot quicker. So that's why people, I think, are sick, because one of the primary causes of most diseases is emotion.
What was your reaction when you first understood, how many different kinds of entities there are, and how prevalent are they?
It was like, what? So honestly, I think when you really awaken properly, it's like a deep dive down a really abyss hole, and you think it can't be this bad. And people often say to me, well, it can't be this bad. Oh, just wait, it's even worse. And as they go down, they find everything's infiltrated. Religion, government, this, that, and the other, and there's a very few control in this world, and even the air, the food, everything. You look at it and think, wow, what manipulated? And the answer is, that'd be everything. So it's kind of crazy, when you do that. Then you go through a kind of a grieving process. Well, I can't quite believe it, but and then once you've grieved it, you take your power back, and then that's the time you really move forward. But it takes time. People want to do it straight away, and it's a big transition.
What is the most common scenario that you come in contact with them?
With the negative beings?
Yes.
Well, interesting. Going back to that meeting. So,
okay.
Of the Galactic Federation, violation versus education. So what happened is, like I say, if you come down, you've got Anunnaki Draconians trying to attach you and all that. That's an education. It was decided. But if you've got beings who are going to paralyze you, take you on their ship and steal your sperm or eggs or whatever they do, and put implants so they can monitor your body, and sometimes they make people pregnant, and then they'll abduct them again and take the fetus out. That's a violation. So they were ordered off the planet, and with it, we work closely as a Melchizedek Being. I work closely with Arcturians and they swept them off the planet. Great, but I think the rules weren't clear enough. And one thing they're doing now is they're actually, they were told that you're not allowed in this space and time. Okay, so what are they doing? Well, they're opening portals in people's houses. So they're in a different time but same space. So they've got over the rule. And thinking, this is pretty cheeky. It's crazy. And I see them because, if you've got a portal in your house, one thing people may not know is these things don't wash. So they stink like gone off drain. So if you walk in, like your living room and suddenly you smell gone off drain or something, there's nothing there. I've had people, I've got the plumbing out, it's in my bathroom, nothing gone with the plumbing. I said, it's a portal, shut it down, the smell's gone. And I've had people abducted where, I remember one lady in Florida, God bless her, she was in tears. she felt as though she'd been raped. They abducted her, took her eggs, and brought her
Wow.
back. And there was 3 portals in a house, so we had to put a crystal grid and close the portals, and she was good to go, you know. But I see that a lot, you know. The Greys are the worst for violation. You know, Anunnaki, they attach to you, they tap in the lower back, they damage the L4L5 disc, they paralyze lower intestine, so you get bloaty and blur. They affect the liver, kidneys, they hang on the shoulders or neck, so that's always tight. And they're saying your negative thoughts. And, you know, I want to encourage people, you know, if you're getting negative thoughts, like depressive thoughts, like, you know, if you do something in the day and you go to work and they say, God, no one likes you, you useless, you, you know, you shouldn't be here. No one likes you, it's all you thought. And people turn it into what I thought and think, oh, I'm useless. When it's not you, it's the negative entity trying to convert, because they're not allowed to send a thought or I thought. It's against the universal rule, so they always send you. So if you pay attention to what you're listening to, it's not you. It's the actual being attached to you. You know. So
That's interesting. Now I kind of have a theory that I've been looking at, because, you know, I've been reading a lot, doing a lot of research on, you know, abductions and whatnot. And the one that stood out to me most, the biggest abduction that really affected me, was the Mojave incident. And it makes me wonder about what I do as a ghost hunter, because from what they're describing, when these aliens would come, you know, the aliens are walking through walls, the room gets really cold. So it's almost like ghosts. And I'm just wondering if, you know, even these EVPs we're getting, if they're not ghosts and they're these alien entities.
Oh yeah, some of them are. It's interesting because, you know, someone in Springfield, this lady was flipping houses, and she had this house and no one would buy it, you know, and it was for sale for about 1.5 years. And she said, could you have a look at it? So I had a quick look at it. I said, yeah, I can deal with it, but I can't phone you till 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, she got this other lady who I know well, didn't know well, just knew of her. I said, oh, this other lady's going to clear it. I thought, oh dear, never mind. I said, well, give me a call when it goes pear-shaped. So the problem, I think there was 743 massacred underneath this house.
Wow.
And so it was interesting. It took me 2 hours to... anyway, so first of all, the lady goes in, banging a drum and da-da-da. She absolutely pissed them off, you know, and they got worse. The plumbing was being damaged, and she said, oh my God, it's freaky. Stuff was flying off the wall because they were really upset. Because the thing is about Native Americans is they take a vow that they're going to stay between worlds to look after the land. Now, you know, to me, that's not good for the people down here or them, because they're not moving on. So what we did is, you know, we did a ceremony and we said, okay, I want to honor you. You know, I called the chief in, honor you for your journey. You know, I want to bless you on your journey. And then we escorted them out, you know, onto the other side where they can move. And there was also entities, because of the negative energy, it attracts entities. And one thing I've found is that in people's houses, you can kind of get symbology on the walls. You can't see it, but it's energetic. And it's like putting a 1 billion watt bulb saying, guys, there's a negative party in this house. So they all come in. And I've seen that before as well. So we've actually got a crystal grid that actually combs off the symbology, because you can't see it. So I get the Melchizedek Beings to do it. And then, you know, we put a crystal grid, which is a one-dimensional Merkaba field. That creates a high vibrational field to keep them out. So that was, yeah. Anyway, so what we did is clear that house. It took me 2 hours. I was bawling my eyes out because I felt their pain like you wouldn't believe. And, you know, she sold it, not on the next day, but the day after, like just that, you know, because it had all been cleared. So it does affect people down here, you know, and they go into the house and go, oh, this doesn't feel good, but they don't know why, you know. So really interesting.
Well, let me ask you this. How do they attach themselves to us?
What they do is, well, it's interesting because, you know, we've got this map of intent, you know, prayer called 27 esoteric Merkaba field prayer. And what that does is put a high vibrational field around. Now, once you've removed an entity from somebody, you know, your vibration's not there yet because you've got a ton of emotion. You've got to do a bit of work to get your vibration up and release emotion and get your liver, kidneys functioning, you know, get your adrenals going, thyroid pituitary, so the endocrine system, so you feel much better. But, you know, as you're transitioning there, because your vibration's not there, if you have a meltdown, like someone comes to your life, well, you know, Charlotte, and upsets you, and you get upset, then of course your vibration's dropping, the field dissipates, and then they attach to you. Now, how do they attach to you? They just basically attach to you, and they tap into the lower back through the spinal cord and send you negative thoughts. That's why, you often think, well, the spine's the biggest structure in your body. It's so strong. Why are people having L4, L5 disc problems? And the answer is, that would be the entities, because once they attach you, even though they're energetic, over a period of time, the disc is going to degrade, from a spiritual perspective, of course. So, and they send you negative thoughts. So once they're attached to you, people don't realize they walk around with this big old Anunnaki about 10'6", but it's a spirit. And eventually, little by little, your endocrine system, your liver's, going down.
Right.
It's affecting your body big time.
Right. Are they involved in all the homelessness that we see?
Oh yeah, they're involved with everything. Yeah, I mean that. To me, people say cabal or Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, is in charge, but these guys are at the top of the tree. These guys are very powerful. Anunnaki have a very powerful mind, and it's interesting because I've often seen people use biofeedback machines or life machines, whatever. And I've had clients coming on, said, "Wow, you got arsenic in your stomach." How have I got arsenic in my stomach? So what happens with these machines is, if you've got a big old Anunnaki with a very powerful brain, they work on intent. So you're lying there, okay, I want to send myself some vitamin C. Oh no, the Anunnaki's got a different idea. Let's send some arsenic or something else. And that's why I always encourage people. It's really important to clear the machine and put a 2070 state Merkabah field around it, so this being can't get and manipulate the machines. So that's really important.
How involved are they in our government?
Well, there's a lot of puppets in the government. They're just puppets, all of them. It's the Anunnaki and Draconians and Luciferians, especially, of course, connected to the Vatican. Well, that says everything you need to know. But they're really in charge of trying to take back the planet off the human race. The human race were really, seeded as guardians here. Guardians, like stewards. Stewards, where it's supposed to be a great place, but of course, over the period of thousands of years, these beings have come and tried to manipulate, and of course they're interested in the gold and everything else. And little by little, since the Babylonian times, it's gone really south. And so they're kind of in charge. The governmental people are just like puppets,
Now, talking about families and friends, how are they able, or how are they trying to split everybody up?
Oh yeah, well, you've got all this, like LGBTQ, you've got Black Lives Matter, you've got vaccine versus no vax, you've got all sorts of things, and it's really sad to see. I remember one lady, she was so distraught, and she said, "My mother never wants to see me again if I don't take the vaccine." What? Can you repeat that? And I said to her, if your mother's love's based on some sort of injection, then to me, that's no love at all, and just don't do it and cut her off, if you don't want to do it. I mean, obviously the choice is yours, but, there's so much separation, and now you've got religion, I mean, all religions are hijacked to an extent. And, I don't believe in religion. I just believe in God. And I think we're all, you don't need a guru. You are your own guru, but sometimes you need a bit of help to actually get back and take that power back, because we've been indoctrinated by the Matrix to be busy for the sake of being busy. You got to work, you got to pay the tax, you got all this stuff, and if you take a step back from it, God's got your back, everything changes. And for me, everything changed.
Let me ask you this: since they feed off our energy, do they feed off children's energy? And is that why so many kids have disappeared every year?
Yeah, but also there's obviously adrenochrome and all that sort of thing. I mean, they use that energy, adrenaline and everything else. I mean, I think people would be shocked. I mean, I've remote viewed in some of the dorms, and it made me throw up, and I can't do it anymore because it's awful. And I know they're taking care of business, and the other thing about it as well, it was agreed that the Anunnaki, the Draconians, and the Luciferians would stay below ground as long as they were supplied with human beings, because we're their cattle, we're fodder for them. So
Right.
that's why millions go missing a year, because they've got to feed these guys down below the planet, and that's the problem we've got. The problem is not up on top, these are just puppets. The problem is actually down below, in my opinion.
Do you think the rise of mass shooters and suicides are the result of being inhabited and controlled by these entities?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's like you've got clones, a lot of clones going on. You've got things like NCPs, which is non-character player, which have been manufactured, and there's a lot of them. There's probably 65-70% of the population that are NCPs. They have no soul. If you manufacture a human being or some being that looks like human, it won't have a proper soul, so it won't behave. It's very kind of checked out and manipulated. So there's a lot of those around. You can tell them. You can see. It's just that people don't believe it. So it's amazing.
Are they available to appear in physical form?
Yeah. What, NCPs?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember as well. If you look at the head of the Illuminati was the reptilian queen, of England.
Right.
And I'm British, and I think the royal family are, with all due respect, absolutely revolting. They child traffic, they hunt children down, they do all sorts of things. And it's funny because one passed away, my father's watching. Oh my God, the funeral and da da da. Oh okay, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Love you, bye. I'll speak to you later, because I have no time for anybody. If people touch our children, I got no time for that at all. And it's happening a lot. There's a lot of traffic. It's way bigger than anyone could ever imagine if you look at it. And I've seen it. And I've just taken a step back, because once you've seen it, you can't keep looking at it, because it's like slapping yourself with a 2x4. And there's people in the white hat community and everything else taking care of that. I believe we're all here for the rebuilders, where once this transition has happened, we're there to help people, rebalance themselves. I mean, a lot of people come on the healings just because they're struggling right now. Anxiety, they've got no money, they don't know what to do, war's looming, the inflation's gone up the roof, and they don't know what to do, and they've heard about child trafficking and all these things going on, and they just get really stressed. And so you're trying to keep people on an even keel. Say, look, it's okay, it's going to change, and that's the thing. God's got our back.
And looking at research, because of course I was Googling a bunch of stuff about all this. What about the transhuman agenda?
The transhuman, oh yeah, I mean, that's just there for separation. I mean, the transhuman, I mean, the agenda is that I've done a lot of work with Morgellons particles. Morgellons is a disease that's probably the worst on this planet. So what they've done is, it was given to us by the Greys. These particles are 10 to the -9 small, and people go, oh, graphene, da. It's not just graphene oxide.
Right.
It's bound with many other materials like nylon 3633. It's bound with silicates. It's bound with plant material. So what happens is, and people say, well, you can just detox it, this graphene. You can't. Why is that? Because the CRISPR technology splices the genetics. And again, from my perspective, DNA, RNA, and immune systems all connected. So what happens is you're not getting the immune response. So this stuff can grow. And you think, well, I mean, sure, it's a nylon 9. Nylon 3633 is a different consistency, but you think, well, how do you make nylon grow? And the answer is the way they've bound it to the graphene. Graphene is carbon 60. So you need that for growth. You need water, oxygen, and everything else. So it's got all the elements to allow this stuff to grow. And that's why if you look at undertakers, people, have come out and shown, like, what's this squid stuff come out of somebody's artery? And the answer is, it's nylon 36. So, but when it grows, I found that with Morgellons disease, when it grows through the body, people start feeling they're in a duality. They're in a different dimension, yet here. They're between worlds. Why is that? Because there's a metallic structure from the Greys that can actually go through dimensions. So if it's grown through your body is going to be like vacillating between one dimension and another. It's been really crazy, really crazy.
Why would the Illuminati and their off-planet alliances want to convert humanity to another species that includes biomaterial and electrical parts?
Well, they don't want the human race here. They want to take over. They want to be in charge. They want us to, I think they just want to take over, put you in a 15-minute city. You eat bugs. They want to keep all the good things on this planet for themselves. So it is a battle for the planet, really.
Right.
Good versus evil. There is no, if you look at all these things with Israel, everything else, there's only two sides in my thing. The deep state versus the good guys. And, all this stuff is set up as a show. And I'd encourage people, at home that this is a show. Now, I've often asked, look, I'm getting fed up with the show. I want a refund. It's not okay. Right. I'm an extra. But, of course, you don't get a refund. But if you stay out of it, if you stay out of that matrix, it's easy to look at things too much. And then you get yourself all anxiety. And you have to look at more. And suddenly you create yourself where you're diving into a really plummet into abyss, I guess, and people do like, oh my God, look, don't worry about it. You're not in the matrix. You're not a normal human being. All the starseeds are starseeds. They've come from somewhere. And so they volunteered. They're here to help, but they're not used to the normal human behavior. So it's very difficult to navigate. I'm sure you found that, Charlotte. You just don't fit in, Yeah. And so the group of friends I've got are very, very little. People say, oh my God, working on those people, you must have loads of friends. Oh no, we've got a few and that's it. And they're people who don't suck your life out of you, hold the space for you and love you for who you are, that's kind of very few people. So,
from what you said a few minutes ago about, combining, mechanics with humans and bio, it kind of sounds like Star Trek. When they talk about the Borg doing the combination, is that what they're going for?
Oh yeah, they want to control. I mean, if you've got AI, the thing is about ingesting this nanotech is that it's AI. The nanotubes have got complementary metal oxide arrays in them, so they can transmit, receive, but they can actually alter thought patterns as well. So, for example, if someone's got this stuff in their body, they can actually control their thoughts. But the other thing about it as well is what people don't realize is that if you ingest this stuff, what happens is that once the DNA is spliced, then the light body of the DNA is not compatible with your soul. So what happens is the soul lifts out of the body about an inch or something. So the person's struggling, and if you look at people who ingested it, they become very different. They're aggressive and, not kind of checked out. And the reason for that is because this is part of the Archon agenda. Archons have no body. They float through the second, third, and fourth dimension. And so when someone checks out, they have the ability to take over the body. So it's not really that person. It's something quite different. So that's interesting. That was part of the Archon covenant, that they could actually, attach to people's bodies and take over because the person's not getting back in because the light body of the DNA is not compatible with the soul. And that's why people change when you ingest this stuff. It's pretty crazy.
That's interesting. When we look at the information around the different facets, of how the transgender agenda is playing out, we see that this appears to have been orchestrated from the highest levels of the government, fully formed. How was this pushed through without anyone being aware of it?
I just think, but it's very few. But if you look at it, the administration's in now, they're all deep state. I mean, we wouldn't be in this mess if we were. I mean, if people think that they're doing a good job, I don't know what to say. Never mind. But and it's not that I'm interested in politics. I'm interested in people. I want people to flourish in this country.
Sure.
I mean, I became American citizen in 2017, and this is not okay, and all the things that are happening. But they're doing it to create separation. They're doing it to infiltrate, and sadly, they're doing an amazing job. What we've got to do is take it back before it all falls apart. So
what's your advice to people if they find themselves in the midst of one or more of these scenarios?
Difficult, I think what you got to do is take a step back and just allow people to choose their path and don't judge them. That's the key. Don't judge them, but try and process. I mean, all my family have, ingested all this stuff, and
Mhm.
I call it Kool-Aid. And, one of them's really sick, with long Kool-Aid syndrome or whatever. And I think the problem is that, I know they're going to pass one of these days. And what can you do? And the answer is they took it. So it's part of their journey. You can't judge them. But at the same time, you have to try and grieve the fact that, I couldn't do anything about it. I mean, the work I do, you think they'd listen, but that's not the case. And I think, same with the transgender stuff and everything else. I think you just got to allow people, because it's their journey. I mean, it's a manipulation, of course, but the whole human race has been manipulated so bad since the Babylonian times that people are so dumbed down.
Do you think that this is all part of the Grey Agenda or the Archon agenda?
I think the grand agenda is the Archon plus the Anunnaki plus the Draconians plus the Luciferians. I mean, the Luciferians are very connected to the Vatican. That's why, if you look at I love Jesus' teachings, but I'm not a Christian. I just believe in God. But all these guys taught really good stuff. And one of the teachings he gave is that, he's talking about, releasing entities, because the person was like, the Luciferians, when you remove them, they get all really anxiety-ridden and pissed off. And I've seen people. I had a lady I was at an expo, and this girl had, I think it was 57 Luciferians attached to her. And every time I talked to her, she was screaming with this raspy voice and got rid of that one. The next one, he didn't get me. And it was like crazy. And people were like, oh my God, what's he doing? I was pulling them out, one by one. And once we get to the last one, she was good to go, bless. But these things, they love attaching to people because they feed off the negative energy, of course.
This is like a real big comprehensive problem. So how do you solve it from the perspective of divine healing?
Well, from there's two perspectives. One, the healing perspective is that we remove them, and then what we do is raise the vibration, give you energy, work on the adrenals, thyroid, pituitary, the liver, get the digestive working, and little by little, and release tons of emotion. I could release 81, 162, 324, 648, and 12, 6 layers of emotion every session. That's a lot. And after a little while, people, once they release emotion, wow, I feel so much better, and they're ready to step out in the way. I want to do something. Yeah, you've got your power back, and that's the key.
Right.
Being able to take your power back. Once your vibration's way above them, they can't even get in your energy field. You don't need the map of intent or prayer, because and they never come and bother us at all, But I would recommend to people nowadays. I think what you have to do is really get in a circle of people who honor you, hold the space for you. You can have some fun with, And I always, tell people, do the things that you got passion for. If you love cooking, do some cooking. If you love, being amongst trees, and we're building a house, believe it or not, in this economy, but we're building a house in 40 acres, only 20 minutes away from here, and it's all trees. And when I go down there, the trees actually absorb any anxiety. You think, this is great, They turn you into a hippie.
That's okay, though. Now, going back a little bit. Yeah, it's great. Going back a little bit, what about mass shootings and suicides? Is that all happening because of these entities?
Yeah, I mean, it's all set up. I think they're trying to take the guns off us. They're worried about, obviously, people having guns and things like that because they can defend themselves. I mean, the UK, if you're found with a firearm, you get 10 years in jail, don't pass go, And obviously here, you can own a firearm. I think, they're trying to... I think the United States is being hit hard because the Constitution, they're trying to destroy the country and the Constitution because it doesn't fit in with their agenda. All other countries are disarmed. And so, many of them are disarmed. And so it's easy to take over a country. People can riot, but you can send in the military or whatever. But here, not the case, And I think they're trying to... And, to me, whatever happens in the United States, goes out all over the world. So I do believe, this is just a show. I think we won. I just think it's a show. And, don't get anxiety ridden for things because a lot of it's false flags. A lot of it's misinformation. You just got to be in your place and just hold the space. It's going to be okay. We're going to get there and we're doing it. I think we're doing an amazing job, especially with what's going on right now.
Right. When you're in a session, what are the common ways that you find them in people's bodies and lives?
When I'm in session, I always remote view because I never do people in person, just for my own protection there. So, I mean, I've got this this 84-inch monitor here, and yeah, you're on there. I have the people's sheet. We create a sheet on them. I remote view, see what's going on with the liver, the kidneys, see if there's any tumors, the womb, breast, brain, and we look at everything. Spine, because so many people have spinal issues. Of course, A, because the entities tap in, but B, because if you look at emotion, it tightens the muscles in the spine. Of course, it pulls it out.
Yes.
And then, of course, one hip's higher than the other, and it's pressing on the nerves, with the disc and everything else. So we do a lot of spinal work, and things like pathogens. People get MS, Parkinson's. I mean, to me, MS, Parkinson's, and muscular dystrophy are all the same, except it attacks the body, and they normally have Lyme disease. So it's really interesting because one of the co-infection of Lyme is Epstein-Barr. And if it gets in the myelin sheath, you get MS because the immune attacks it, breaks it down. If it gets in the muscles or connective tissue or ligaments, then the immune breaks that down. It's interesting because when you listen to medical people, they say, "Oh, well, it's autoimmune disorder." Okay, so why is your autoimmune attacking your own body? There's got to be a reason, but they don't. Oh, it's autoimmune, so and they give you like low-grade chemo to suppress all the all the white blood cells. So it's just interesting. So we've dealt with so much, with healing. It's amazing.
How are they driving social issues, and what are the social issues?
Well, there's loads of so. I mean, personally, I was thinking the other day. I mean, social issues. I think there's a big. Can you call it like mental illness in this country now? Starseeds, they're very different. I mean, I've got OCD. I've got ADD. Because when I'm on sessions, I'm in the ethers, and then when I come down, I can't concentrate for about an hour, and my wife won't let me drive. So I'm driving. You can get grounded here first because, and she won't let me buy a motorbike because I can't concentrate that long because I'm halfway between worlds. And so and it's quite sensible. Except I love motorbikes. I want to get one of them, but anyway. But I think there's a lot of mental illness in this country. I mean, am I mentally ill? Well, of course I am. Do I have anxiety? Not particularly, but I've got OCD and ADD. So we're all classed as mentally ill. But I think it's a result of the environment they've created with all this separation. I mean, people are struggling with it. It's so extreme that you think you've got to be kidding.
Right.
And I personally, I don't agree with it. But but what can you do? I mean. You can just encourage people to just step out of it, and it's the minority. All this stuff is the minority, and it's all there.
Well, when you said that about not being able to concentrate, I remember getting stuff on my report cards when I was in like 4th, 5th grade that said easily distracted.
Yeah, so you're looking at something up here, like in the ethers. I don't want.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Charlotte. One thing I would encourage people to do as well. People say, "Buddy, you got to get more grounded." Why? Because one thing I think is because the world's so bad. I mean, this week, I don't know if you felt the energies, but they've been off the charts crazy.
Yes.
It's been really like pea soup. It's affected everybody, and I found the healing sessions are getting a lot more to work with because people are, in real trouble. And, so I kind of encourage people, well, get in meditation or just go in the ethers, let your mind go. It's okay to be there half a day and then be here half a day. Because it gives you reprieve from this awful energy. I mean, I remember with the Arcturians, there's a crystalline structure around the planet actually there's a firmament as well, which the planet's a lot bigger than it really is, but that's probably another conversation for another day. But there's a crystalline structure, we used to use it for telepathy. But what happens is that when human race gets anxiety, it all bleeds into that crystalline structure. So it's kind of the responsibility of the Arcturians, other Melchizedek beings, including myself, to clear it. We used to clear it once every 3 months. Then it went down to once every 2 months, then once every month and once a week. And then we discussed, well, should we do it every day? And the answer was no. Why is that? Because people need to feel it. They don't need to commit suicide and be suicidal, but they need to feel it. They need to feel that energy so they can actually learn something from it. So we're just doing it once a week at the moment, but it fills up so quick. I mean, some days I bet you people are feeling out there like you feel as if you've got your brick in your chest. We do have a map of intent to remove that energy and send it back to God to be transmuted in any way God knows how. So, there's some prayers and maps of intent that can really help people over this transition.
And you're right. I've noticed, like you say, the energy's off the charts. I've been talking to people online who have asked me if my dogs and cats are acting strangely, and yeah, they have been. So whatever's going on right now is even affecting the animals.
Oh yeah, I mean they feel it as well. Even cows, all the animals are, think, wow, what's this place? This is nuts, But of course, animals don't know, but they instinctively they can really feel. And in fact, the beautiful thing about cats, dogs, if they see an entity, they'll actually jump in front of you and take it on for you. I've seen that a lot, because they love you unconditionally, of course, bless their hearts. I've done a lot of work with animals.
What about addictions? Do they have a hand in people's addictions?
Oh, big time. I mean, Charlotte, I think as a nation we've failed in some way, but it's not, it's not our fault, but I think we've failed because, again, think about a starty person. They don't fit in. They're struggling to make a living because they don't do well in a third dimensional world. And, it's difficult to find the right place to get the education to come out of it. And so what a lot of these people do, including average human beings, they take drugs to actually escape from it, and it's not the answer, but of course they're escapees. They want to take drugs and kind of be high so they don't have, all the anxiety goes for a bit and then it comes back, they take it again. But that's not the way. I mean, you can get a much more blissy feeling being in the God space. And it takes a bit of work, but and sometimes people just don't want to do the work, but it takes work. You've got to release emotion, get your vibration. As it gets higher and higher, you get to what I call the God threshold, where it's like, wow, I feel absolutely amazing, no matter what happens in the world. I mean, do I feel sad about this, what's going on in America at the moment and everything else? Of course I do. I'll be a lunatic to not, but at the same time, you can't take it personally. You just think, well, it's part of the show. It's playing out. And it's going to change. And I think it's going to change pretty quickly. Because, to me, America's jumped off a cliff and it's about halfway down, gaining velocity. If it hits the bottom, there'll be nothing left. So I think, the precipice is coming soon. Can I give a date? Of course not. Because, there's so many timelines playing out, converging together. But I feel like the precipice is close.
Here's a question I was thinking through this whole show is the missing 411 reports of these people that are abducted from or disappear from national parks and in other areas around the world. Is this them taking people?
Oh, yeah. They've actually got their underground caverns. They've got actually in national parks. That's why they produce national parks, is they've got doorways and things into their caverns. So when they come out, they just take people. I mean, I know of a story, I forgot which national park, it was in California, and the military were there and they were trying to, get these guys, and they just at them, they eat people. So, you've got to be really careful out at night in national parks because that's why they get them for national parks, because that's the gateway down to the underworld, So, for sure.
Now, outside of the work you do you come in contact with them?
I do, yeah. They don't bother me. I've seen them actually. I mean, I can see them physically, but of course they're not here. I can see through the veil. I mean, one of them has, when I was 4, and a couple of times they could switch dimensions. Like the Queen of England, she can change shape. She's a shapeshifter. I mean, she's passed away now, but she's a shapeshifter. She can convert into the Anunnaki form, like, the big reptilian form. But then if they look at somebody, they can recreate that form into, looking like human. But the interesting thing about it, they never get it completely right. Like if you have a mold on the right cheek, suddenly it'll be on the left because they forgot. But, if you're ever wondering whether someone's a reptilian, we have a prayer and it kind of goes like this. So if you think, that person really dark, are they reptilian? What you have to do is look at them, say in your mind, and this map of intent or prayer is on the website. Ground yourself. I am of God. I ground myself to the earth. Dear God, I command you, show this person in their true form. And what will happen is that you'll see like a overlay, an opaque overlay of the actual true form. And I had a girlfriend and she was reptilian, and she was really mean. I thought, why are you so mean? I know I sat on the sofa one day. I did that prayer, massive reptilian. Oh my God, I'm dating a reptilian. Bye. Next day, I was gone. It was crazy, but it's happened a few times. And same with draconians, they'll have to show you their true form, but of course they walk amongst us as a human, because they can switch between the fourth and the third dimension, and they can actually be a reptilian, but of course they're not going to come in your yard and you see a massive, 10-foot velociraptor looking thing that'll raise alarms. So they obviously shape shift into a different form. They're very crafty, very crafty.
You think there's ever going to be disclosure?
Oh yeah, I think it's coming. I mean, and I think it's coming soon. But I think the problem is that the current equilibrium has to change. We have a big pyramid project. What's that? Well, it's about 100,000 acres. We're building off-planet pyramids, and it's a dimensional shift with them. And we hope to get them down here next year. Where they're going to be, I can't tell you, because of course, the deep state will not want them. They've been in the scriptures, but they've taken the scriptures out. But some of the scriptures of different religions have actually mentioned them. And once they're placed here, they're built in Moldavite and a lot of ancient technology. They will inject so much energy into the ley lines, they'll blow out all these satanic, symbols that they've got. And then the planet it will help raise the vibration. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, the thing is about these reptilians and stuff is they're low vibrational creatures. If the planet's vibration accelerates that fast, they won't be able to stay here. They'll have to leave or they'll perish. So that's up to them. So, we're working on that at the moment. We've got some top banking people, white hat people. I don't know anything about banking, but, we're talking about probably $200 billion to build this thing. So it's out of our league. I don't seem to have the money. But it's going to happen.
Now, you mentioned your girlfriend and realizing she was reptilian. Can the normal person tell if somebody's an alien or not, or half alien? Is there a way for people to tell?
You can normally tell that if they're dark, then you need to say that, that map of intent of prayer, because they'll show themselves in a true form. I mean, I can see these beings because, it's like when you go to a restaurant. If you're doing this every day, you go to a restaurant, and, oh my God, everyone's got attachments and things. So I have the ability to tune out and shut it off, and then you go to a restaurant, just enjoy yourself, because you don't want to see all these reptiles snarling at you. What are you doing here? And so you can tune it out and then put it back in again. But yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing the amount of people who have an attachment of some sort.
That's amazing. This hour just blew by. It was so fascinating.
Yeah, where's it gone?
Yeah,
let's put the clock back.
Just like that, yeah, just like that. I want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks, Charlotte. Thanks for having me.
I have admired you for years, and wow.
Well, let's do it again.
Let's do it again. Fantastic. How can people find you, sir?
Yeah, if you go to globalenlightenmentproject.com, that's globalenlightenmentproject.com. We're there. If you want sessions, if you want help, we also have twice a week. We have the general healing group where we go through most things. It takes about an hour. That's Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time, and Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Please join. We ask for a donation for that, but always remember, if you've got no money, look, I've been there. I've got the T-shirt on that one, let me tell you. So I've been 7 days, 21 days without food and different things over the journey. And it taught me so much that even a plate of food is such a blessing, and, I think people forget that sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I really, really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thanks, Charlotte. Bless your heart. Thanks for having me on. It's been wonderful.
Love to have you again.
Absolutely. God bless.
All right, Christopher. Thank you. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks. All
right. Well, that was absolutely fascinating, and I hope you got good information out of that, like I did. Tomorrow, Nancy Mass is going to be on, same time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about pets. Are they psychic? Animal communication. So we might be able to teach you a couple tips on how to talk to your dog mentally. We'll see. Your dog or cat mentally. So we'll see how that goes. And be aware that we're also going to make an announcement tomorrow about something having to do with a Patreon. I think you guys are going to like it. I really think you guys are going to like it. So anyway, that being said, I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Excuse me while I do this. The dog keeps rubbing on my leg and it scares because I forget he's down there. But if you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We are equal opportunity here at California House Radio, and we're just looking to just keep building up our audience. That's what we're here for. Again, if you're watching from YouTube and you like what you saw, please hit that like button. Same thing with Facebook. Please hit that follow button. All right. With that being said, I'm going to show you his information, and we're going to call it a night, and I'll see you guys at 6:30 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. So here we go, and here's his info. He's got some books out, too, you might want to look up. His website is globalenlightenmentproject.com. And he's got book, History, Truth, and Healing, Divine Transcendence. And you've got the Sacred Prayers, and you've got Divine, it's got, I'm trying to read that one. Anyway, it's some Divine Healing, that's all I can tell you. My blind eyes can't do that. Books available are at Amazon, okay? He's got a few more books, too, that you might be interested in as well. All right, guys. Again, I will see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, with Medium Nancy Matz. Bye.